Hello brothers and welcome back to another video. So guess what we're going to be doing today? We're going to be talking about Primarchs. I know I haven't talked about Primarchs in a while, so I thought I'd give you a nice little video on the subject of their return, possibly in the Psychic Awakening. I get dozens, absolutely dozens of comments all the time. Hey Varrock, do you think a Primarch's going to be coming back during the Psychic Awakening? Do you think it's going to be coming back, this year, next year, whenever? I do definitely think GW will be pumping Primarchs out. When that may be is anyone's guess. I think a Psychic Awakening is a really big way to introduce one, but I think it's going to be a big way to introduce a traitor one rather than a loyalist one. Of course, this video, we're going to concentrate on the loyalist ones because there's so much talk about traitor ones that we've done that a million times. So there's really four big contenders for returning Primarchs. And hear me out. Of course, you guys will have your own little says in this, but the four big ones I say is Lionel Johnson, Jagatai Khan, Rogel Dorn, because Dorn lives. There's no body means that there's no death. You have to think of TV here, ladies and gentlemen. There's no body, there's no death. There's just a hand, and who says that's Dorn's hand? And the fourth one is, of course, Corax, because little Squawky boy is still alive, hunting Lorgar. Now, before we descend down the rabbit hole, please bear in mind that this is just a fun video. I love talking about Primarchs. I love Primarchs. Primarchs are my life, ladies and gentlemen. And if I can make a video about a Primarch, you bet your bottom dollar I will be making a video about a Primarch. Please, Mr. Certain Spiky Bits, don't have this on your website that confirmation, Dorn returns and stuff like that. No, it's not. It's just me just having a nice little talk about something that I love. So let's start with Prime candidate number one. And of course, it has to be, I think it has to be Lionel Johnson, because we all know where Lionel Johnson is. With the other Primarchs, we don't know where they are. We know that Khan went into the Webway. We know that Corax went into the Eye of Terror. We know Dorn just disappeared, but we know where the Lion is. He's in the rock. We know where the rock is. It's actually on the maps and stuff like that. If you check any of the 40k maps they put out, the editions, it will say the rock. So we know that is indeed where the Lion is. That is where a loyalist Primarch is in slumber. Now, the reason why I name the Lion as the top candidate to return is because I think he has the most story backing to his return. And what I mean by that is, if you haven't been following what's been going on with the Dark Angels, they've had a lot of shenanigans that has happened to them during and after the Great Rift. So when the Great Rift happened, the Rock was more or less invaded by demonic forces. Luthor, who was on the Rock, we all know who Luthor is. He was basically Lion's second in command. A lot of things happened during the Heresy. Luthor was the one who led the rebellion when the Lion would come back to Caliban. He was infused by like chaotic powers. He fought the Lion. Luthor was imprisoned, and the Lion was like taken away by the Watchers in the Dark and stuff like that. Now, Luthor has been set free / escaped by the Ruinous Powers once more. Now, adding to that, the Fallen, which were the Dark Angels that sided with Luthor, are gathering in legion-sized strength in the north of the Imperial territory again. So the Great Rift is split in the Imperium into two bits, for those of you, again, who are not aware. And the north bit of this is basically no man's land. It's very hard to travel. There's really more or less no law there because you can't really get around and enforce it and stuff. So that's where the Dark Angels, that's where the Fallen Dark Angels are gathering in legion-sized strength, led by a mysterious figure. Now, there's two mysterious figures this could be. One is, of course, Luthor. He is gathering the Fallen under him again, or it could be Cypher. It's really down to whatever you believe. I personally think it's Luthor, because if Luthor was really sorry for what he did, then wouldn't he like make contact with like the first Imperial world and say, hey, I'm Luthor, such and such, send for the Dark Angels, tell them to come and pick me back up again. So this is why I think that Luthor is still out for the Lion, and he still wants to kill the Lion and ruin the Dark Angels and all that kind of stuff. And of course, with the Lion then asleep, this is the perfect time for him to be awoken. The Watchers, whatever they're doing with him, I don't know if they're keeping him asleep or whatever. It's so mysterious. But it'd be the perfect time for him to come back, because the galaxy is in a bad situation at the moment. We do have Rebute, who is leading the Imperium to the best of his abilities. And the thing is with Rebute and the Lion, even though they respect each other, and they really do respect each other, there's always been a little bit of heat between them two. Rebute is the one that snapped the Lion's sword in a rage because he failed to protect protect the Faris Beacon, all that kind of stuff. If you read the Horus Heresy, you'll get it all. I don't really want to be going over that kind of stuff. So I think the dynamic of bringing him back would cause some clashes with Rebuti, which I think is much needed. Because at the moment in the time, it's just, oh, the Primarch says this, and okay, I won't disagree with him because, you know, he's a Primarch, etc., etc. But if another Primarch comes back, one who we know he's banged heads with before, and we all know that the Lion has a very difficult personality with the way he tries to do his things, I think it would be great for the story. Plus, seeing the Lion come back, he's just a badass. He really is a badass. I know a lot of people dislike him. A lot of people say the Dark Angels are traitors and stuff. I know it's kind of a meme, a joke and stuff like that, but really, the Dark Angels are loyal. The Lion is loyal, and I'd really just like him to come back and start kicking some ass. Now, on to one of my favourite Primarchs. Dorn is number 1, and Jagatai Khan is number 2. I just love Jagatai Khan. The Smiling Death and stuff. Oh, it's so cool. I just love the white scars. Thank you, Chris Wright. You're amazing. So, with Jagatai Khan, we all know what happened to Jagatai Khan. Well, say it, we all know. I'll briefly go over it. Dark Eldar were raiding Chigoris. Jagatai Khan came to help. He got sucked into the webway. That's the last we saw of him. Now, there's been rumblings that maybe he's in the webway. He's been captured by the Dark Eldar. I do not think for 1 second that the White Scar Primarch, Jagatai Khan, the Laughing Death, whatever his bloody nickname was captured by a bunch of pointy ears. I'm sorry, I'm not going with it. That guy is out there somewhere, still murdering, still slaying, still laughing and purging in the Emperor's glorious name. But how the hell is he going to get out of where he is? Because the webway is just this massive maze of madness. So I think that with the whole Slaaneshi thing that's been going on, and the whole Slaaneshi thing, what's been going on, which is the potential of Fulgrim's return, I think it would be in the Eldar's interest to lead him out of the webway, back into the material world, to bring justice upon not only Fulgrim, but the enemies of both the Eldar and the Imperium. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That kind of, that kind of bloody thing. So I think it could be really cool if he came back and he did it that way. Plus, with everything that's going on about Slaanesh and Fulgrim, I definitely think that Fulgrim is coming. I can feel it. There's so many hints and drops of Fulgrim coming. It would be perfect for Jagatai Khan to fight Fulgrim. Now, I'm wondering if he is going to fight him during the Siege of Terror series, but if he doesn't, then even more so, Jagatai Khan deserves to come back and fight Fulgrim, because Fulgrim has always, he's got one of these personal, I'm the best swordsman and stuff like that. And Jagatai Khan, he's a secretive Primarch. He keeps his abilities to himself, which this is one of the things I love about him. He's just so calm and peaceful, but once it goes to the wall, he unleashes all his fury, and you just want to run away from him because he's such a badass. So seeing him take down Fulgrim and teach him a lesson, I think that would be one of the greatest things we've ever witnessed when it comes to Primarch fighting Primarchs. Now, Corax is the next one. I'm going to leave Dorn to last because it's a bit hard connecting the Dorn stuff. So Corax, I think Corax is a big shoeing as well, because we're actually seeing a lot of stuff happening with the word bearers. Much as we've seen with the Emperor's Children, we are seeing the first indications of the word bearers. We're seeing Lorgar's name drop, Corferon's name drop. We haven't seen these name drops in a while now, and with the whole Great Rift and the powers of chaos leaking into the Imperial worlds now, and planets chapters being lost and just chaos popping up everywhere, cults popping up everywhere, it does make a lot of sense for the architect of the whole heresy, for everything that happened to the Imperium, to make an appearance, and that is of course Lorgar. Now, if Lorgar does make an appearance, I will bet my entire model collection that Corax is not far behind, because Corax hates Lorgar. He is after him. There's a short story, the name escapes me at the moment, I'm sure someone mentioned in the comments, where Corax basically is like this kind of like warp-infused Batman, and he's hunting a bunch of word bearers. The word bearers go and get Lorgar because they basically think it's a demon. Lorgar says, no, it's not, it's my brother, and it's Corax. He's just like using the powers to his will now and stuff. Like he's not corrupted or anything. He's just using like the powers that the Emperor created him with. He's using to his benefit. And I think Corax's words were, please correct me on this, is that, I have your scent now, brother, and I'm coming for you, something on the lines of that. So he's definitely after Lorgar, and I think Lorgar is actually scared, because Corax is a beast. Corax with his little ninja claws, goes invisible, squawking all over the place and, you know, just appearing from the shadows. I think he will just absolutely gut Lorgar within a couple of seconds, and Lorgar is scared of that, and he just wants to keep as far away from him as humanly possible. Moving on and leaving the best to last, of course, we're going to talk about Rogal Dorn, but before we do, I know there's going to be people in the comment section saying, what the hell, Valrak? What about Vulcan? I think Vulcan deserves an entire video on this whole Gathering Storm separately, because he's completely different, because he has something that none of the other Primarchs, probably even the Emperor has, but then again, you can debate this, is that he can't die. Vulcan can't die, it's perpetual. He just can't, you know, you stab him, you chop off his head, you burn him alive, you throw him into space, he explodes, and he comes back smiling, wanting to give you an even bigger hug. So that's why I haven't mentioned him in this video. But yes, he's definitely a shoo-in to return as well, because he's around somewhere, but we just don't know where. Now, moving on to glorious Rogal Dorn, his disappearance, and I'm saying it, it's a disappearance, it's not death. His disappearance is shrouded in mystery. We all know that the only thing that was found was his hand, and that is encased in amber on the phalanx. It's a very sacred relic. You know, if you're a chapter master, you engrave your name into his bony fist. Let's say it wasn't always like that. His full skeleton used to be on the phalanx. That was the old law, but they changed it to his hand. That gives me a kind of an insight of what GW is thinking of. They want to keep that mystery there. They don't want to have him dead, which believes me to think that maybe they're planning on doing something with him in the future. What that something is basically up for anyone's guess. I think the hardest task for whatever GW do when bringing Dorn back, if they bring Dorn back, let's say, hopefully they do, because Dorn lives in my heart, he will never die, is that where has he been? What has Dorn been up to? It's been 10,000 years. Well, I won't say 10,000. I think it was like 1,000 years after heresy, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So, what, 9,000 years, let's say, give or take I don't know, 1,000. Let's just be kind. What's he been doing? Dorn was known as the Praetorian of Terror, the protector. Maybe in his heart, he felt that he failed and he had to go on a penance somewhere, but a penance of 10,000 years, is that kind of like taking a walk for the Primarch? We're not too sure. But wherever he's been, they really need to explain why he's been there and what he's been doing. Don't say he's been in Centurion armor next to the bloody Emperor of Mankind. Stop it with those comments. It's not official law. But I personally think if he did come back, I would want to see a complete different Dorn. Dorn that we know in the Horus Heresy is very calculated. He's very mature, let's say. Is that probably the right word to say? Like, he's always planning and stuff. The Dorn that I would like to see come back is a furious Dorn. A Dorn which is basically, do you know what? A Black Templar Dorn, where it's just fury, 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 fury at the at Horus, fury at the traitors, fury at the Primarchs, which, you know, caused all this, just full out rage and fury at his own failings, because yeah, he did fail to protect the Emperor, and he wants to redeem that in some kind of way. So throwing him at the bulwark of the enemy that caused all this pain and suffering is his only arc of redemption, and just to settle himself and make him feel that he's atoned for his loss. On a political scale, I think it could be kind of cool as well. We all know that Dorn and Guilliman clash heads with the whole Codex Astartes. It's kind of funny because Dorn and Guilliman always want what's best for the Imperium, but the way they go about it is completely opposite. They're so alike, they're disalike in a funny way of saying it. And I think that could make, you know, for some cool conversations. You know, Guilliman wants it this way, Dorn wants it this way. Well, Dorn was entrusted to protect the Emperor. He was the Praetorian. Where were you, Guilliman? You know, all that kind of stuff could be brought back up and, you know, cause a lot of mud in the water, as we all like to read about and stuff. Because I actually do like to read a lot about the political stuff in 40k. I know bolt upon is always welcome. You know, exploding shells, ripping people's heads off, chainsaws ripping people apart and stuff. But the most funniest books is like about all like the as I like to call it, your smile is a dagger, and you end up stabbing people in the back just to push your political career a little bit forward. Those are the books I really enjoy when it comes to 40k. So hopefully that could be a big part of whatever Primarch came back, and they can introduce that into the story a little bit more. All right, Chaperoonios, that is me done for today. Yes, there we go. That's my Primarchness out for the month. I've got over it, and I'll be back next month with more Primarch stuff. I just love talking about Primarchs. A lot of people say, "God damn it, Valrak, you are Primarchs again." But the thing is, I make videos that I love, and I love talking. I just love Primarchs. They're just these massive, epic beings of just godliness, which they're just so awesome. They command, like, you know, they've got their own sons, legions, and they've all got different personalities. Some are really, really strange, some are really, really awesome, some are just really deranged and mad. I just absolutely love talking about them, so that's why I talk about them so much. And again, the Gathering Storm, it has to happen. It has to happen. Again, it's probably going to be a Chaos one, but if it was a Loyalist one, then take your pick. Those are my top picks anyway, and I'm sure I'd like to read your top picks and stuff like that in the comment section below. Please don't mention Sanguinius. No Sanguinius. Sanguinius is dead. He deserves to be dead. No, don't bring him back or anything like that. If you brought Sanguinius back, then it would just ruin the entire Horus Heresy arc of his character. It would be absolutely for nothing. Right, that is me done. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I shall see you all very, very soon. See you now, and bye-bye.